You're not too old to reinvent everything. I don't care if you're 36, 43, 51, or even 60. Whoever told you that your best years are behind you was wrong, and I'll prove it. But first, let's talk about that voice in your head. You know the one that says it's too late now. The one that whispers you missed your shot. The one that compares your life to your peers, sees their success, and then turns your silence into shame. That voice is lying, because age doesn't disqualify you. It qualifies you. You've been through enough by now to know what you don't want. You survived heartbreak, career setbacks, self-doubt, office politics, late nights, burnouts, reinventions, and maybe even starting over more than once. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. And while the world celebrates the 20-something tech prodigy or the young CEO on LinkedIn, what they never tell you is this: most people who create real, lasting, meaningful success don't hit their stride until after 35, because that's when you stop living to impress and start living from truth. It's when your ambition becomes aligned with your values. It's when you stop chasing titles and start chasing impact. And if you've been laid off recently, or let go, or feel behind, listen to me closely. You're not broken, you're just ready. Ready to build from clarity, not chaos. Ready to choose with intention, not desperation. Ready to stop playing a role and start being real. So let's look at the facts. Vera Wang didn't design her first wedding dress until she was 40. Colonel Sanders franchised KFC at 62. Samuel L. Jackson didn't get his breakout role until he was 46. Julia Child didn't debut on TV until 51. You see the pattern. These people weren't overnight successes. They were long-haul warriors who used every chapter of their life, even the painful ones, as preparation. And that's what you're doing right now, preparing, learning, becoming. Reinvention doesn't mean you erase everything you were. It means you take what you've lived through and redirect it into something truer, bolder, more fulfilling. That might mean a new career, a business, a calling you pushed down because it didn't make sense back then. Or maybe it means giving yourself permission to finally take the path you said you would try someday. Well, someday is today. And you don't need to do it all at once. You don't need to quit everything, or know every step, or have a perfect roadmap. You just need to decide that this next chapter won't be a rerun, that it won't be a recycled version of who you were, that it will be authored intentionally by you. Because your age is not a countdown. It's a catalyst. You're not running out of time. You're running out of reasons to keep betraying yourself for stability. That job you lost, that role you outgrew, that company that let you go. Maybe they weren't your final stop. Maybe they were just your training ground. And now it's your turn, not to prove the world wrong, but to prove to yourself that it was never too late. It was just waiting for you to wake up. So if you're over 35, standing in the middle of your mess, wondering if it's too late to start again, let me be the one to say it loud and clear. You are right on time, and your reinvention, it's just getting started. You're not too old, you're just too seasoned to settle. That's the truth no one's told you yet. You're not behind. You're just done living by someone else's timeline. You see, we've been programmed since we were kids to think life has a narrow path. Graduate, get the job, climb the ladder, retire, and call it a life. But no one talks about what happens when the ladder disappears, when the job ends, when the passion runs dry, when the plan no longer fits the person you've become. That's where real life begins. Not at 25 with a dream job and a shiny diploma, but at 38 or 45 or 53 with scars, wisdom, clarity, and a refusal to waste what's left of your energy. Living small, because here's what reinvention really is. It's not burning it all down and starting from nothing. It's reclaiming the parts of you that got buried under expectations. It's saying, I'm allowed to change. It's giving yourself permission to pivot, to evolve, to want different things at different stages. And if you've been laid off or pushed out, that moment of rejection, it wasn't personal. It was directional. Life's way of saying you were never meant to stay there. Maybe the job ended so your real work could begin. Maybe the title was keeping you trapped. Maybe that comfortable salary was the reason. Your creativity died now without the job. without the structure, without the fake safety net. You finally get to ask the real question. What do I want? Not what looks good. Not what pleases others, what aligns with your truth. And here's the beautiful thing about being older. You don't have time to waste anymore. You're not going to chase meaningless metrics. You're not going to tolerate soul-draining jobs just because they sound impressive. You're going to build from values, from vision, from depth. That's what reinvention at this age is all about. It's not noisy, it's focused. It's not flashy, it's grounded. You stop trying to prove and start trying to live. And that kind of shift, that kind of power, it's magnetic. The world notices when someone owns their evolution. When they say, I don't care what people think. I care about how I feel. That's when opportunities start to open. That's when alignment finds you. But it only happens when you stop asking, am I too old, and start asking, what would I create if I wasn't afraid? Because here's the truth. Fear is always going to be there. The doubt, the comparison. The voice that says people younger than me are ahead. But they're not ahead, they're just earlier. That's not the same thing. Earlier doesn't mean better. Faster doesn't mean deeper. You have depth, you have range. You've lived, and that lived experience, that's your greatest competitive advantage. NOA, I can replicate it. No. 25-year-old NBA Only you
can
have your
fake
story, your scars, your lens, your language. And the moment you realize that, really realize it, you stop shrinking. You stop apologizing for your age. You stop pretending to be who you were 10 years ago. Just to get hired, you show up as you are wiser, sharper, more honest, and more powerful than you've ever been. That's what reinvention looks like. That's what being too old really means. You're too old to waste time on anything. That doesn't feel like freedom. So don't hide this season. Own it, share it. Lead through it. Because someone out there is watching you right now. Not to see if you fail, but to see if they can rise too. Be the proof, be the fire. Be the voice that says it's not over. It's just getting started. And 5 years from now, when you're living a life that finally fits, when you've built the thing they said was too late to start, you'll look back on this season and smile. Because you'll know that the moment everything fell apart was the moment you finally came home to yourself.